Hi,
Thank
how are
you.
you?
I'm great. I love your background.
Hey, well, this is my home office,
There we go.
but I now have a studio space thanks to the bakery. So
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Is that where we usually see you on the calls?
no, this is where my calls are, but I'm about to launch the studio October 5th. But throughout the bakery, I not that it's a courage thing, but like financially, I was able to take a space for an office to do our client meetings. Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I
Thank
didn't
you.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so happy for you. How fun.
Yes.
Very fun. Okay, well, that wasn't even planted, but thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Krystal, how long have you been in the bakery?
Less than a year, joined January.
January. That's about right. Tell us how your experience has been.
It's been like honestly, I'm slightly teared up from that little vision we did because almost everything we just talked about, I've already accomplished since being with you
Oh
and
my
everybody,
gosh.
on the team. So it is possible, definitely, and it happens quickly. You have to put the work in, obviously, but yeah. So everything we just forecasted, I'm almost there. So
Wow.
yeah, I've kind of given myself the goal of till the end of the year
Mhm.
to try and get everything there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what has been your favorite part of the bakery?
Oh, that's hard. The support aspect of it is huge. Whether it's our weekly calls or even just the Facebook group. If you have a question that's pressing, you can throw it in there and somebody responds. And then throughout the day or days, depending on everyone's schedule, you get answers. So I just think it's that huge wealth of community and network. So I think support for me was like the most exciting.
Yeah, it's lonely out there by yourself.
Knowledge, I mean, and that's just like one little part, but I mean, when I did the rolling in the dough, I was totally burnt out. So pre-COVID, I was doing 80 plus workout hours a week. I was eating dinner at 11:30 at night. I worked weekends. I didn't go to birthday parties, weddings. My personal relationship was like, ships passing in the wind type of a thing.
Yeah.
COVID did reset that, thank God. But then I was just kind of looking to figure out how to level up myself and my company. And obviously I found you and did the rolling in the dough. And that's everything I was looking for immediately was there. And I have been in the business for a little bit. I'm in my 7th year of being on my own. So depending on where you are in your career, whether you're just starting out or you're in the middle or you're advanced, I think no matter what phase, there's something that you're going to gain from this. For me, I was in the middle of ready to give a proposal. And I was always charging hourly.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of like jumped in and went straight to the pricing. Like
I think I remember that.
we
Yes.
have the modules, but like, I was like, oh my God, I got to get in here because I don't want to mess up and when I say mess up, I was charging hourly and it was
Right. Not working.
not working at all. So that first, and it was a repeat client. So I feel like I had a little bit of advantage with that project, but
Mhm.
that scope of work, I made my bakery feedback immediately.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
So like
cool.
the one that we all just celebrated is like my largest contract, but
Yes.
first one like already took care of the year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, good, 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 good. So, um, what would you say? Okay, so you mentioned that no matter if you're beginning, middle, or have been in business for a while,
Mm-hmm.
I think we have in this group probably more on the beginning side,
Okay.
like just kind
Yeah.
of getting in the putting their foot in the water. Maybe like I can't even afford this because I am so new.
Right.
Like what would you say to what would you say to your previous self as well
Um,
as these individuals?
I
And
would say no,
yeah.
no. And I mean, so a little bit of my background, like even though I've been in it for 7 years, I was somebody who had an extreme amount of overhead. I mean, I looked at my bank accounts every day. I knew where every penny was. I personally felt like back then I would have been afraid to invest in it because it's a commitment. However, one, you'll make it back. Two, I think if all of you are in that beginning phase, you are golden because a lot of us we're it's like teaching an old dog new tricks. Like I had to undo so much conditioning that you guys are actually going to set your companies up from the beginning, you know, and I don't want to say correctly because we all do it differently.
Mhm.
However, like with your process, you are setting yourself up for success. Like there's just no way around it. And had I known that from the beginning, I would be
Can you imagine?
I can't. I'd have a vacation home. I mean, yeah, I can't. I wish I could turn the clock back easily 10 to 15 years. Yes. Yeah.
Me too, right here.
Yeah. So, I mean, my answer would be, if you are scared, I promise you, we did not talk before this testimony, you know, me being here. I'm also, I consider myself single. I am engaged. I'm 40. And I have always been somebody that took care of myself, like just, you know, so it's scary, like either being on your own or working, you know, a job and then taking this on as a second potential option or jumping right into it. You need this in order to have a successful career, and immediately you will see the results.
I wish I built this wishing it's what I had when I was building my business.
Yes.
Just because it's like, okay, there's all sorts of things. You should have seen my outline. It was like this long to begin with. And then I was like, okay, we just need to get the basics. And that's what's in the key ingredients. And then we've added on the frosting and stuff like that as we've gone.
Yeah.
So, what about in regards to, like, a lot of times we hear, I don't have the time. Like, this just isn't a good time, or I don't have the time.
One, I think it's a little bit of an excuse because I said it to myself before, like prior to this, I've always been like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have the money. I think you need to make time. So for instance, I'm a visual learner. Like I like to be present for our calls as much as possible, because for me to like jump in and watch a replay, I want to get it live, but obviously it's there for that reason. But one, it's only, you know, our calls are an hour a week. It's Wednesday mornings. It's literally on my calendar, blocked out. You know, I've taken our calls driving on my, you know, safely on my ear pod. I've done it on jobs where I just pop it in, you know, and listen if I can. So I think time, really the only, I would say dedicated time is our Wednesday calls. Other than that, anything else, you know, there's like pockets, first thing in the morning, you know, evenings, weekends. I'm a little bit of a procrastinator, but I thrive on schedule. So I have my calendar, I have my binder. And once you set yourself up for that, you will find the time. And then honestly, it's like addicting. Like the more and more knowledge you gain and things start to work and clients come in the door and your bank account starts to grow, it's like, you just can't get enough of it.
That's good. That's a new perspective. But I understand that, because once you start the momentum of something that starts to work, it's just so much fun to continue to see what you have to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite master coach?
Probably it's a tie. Nicole Lano, for mindset, and Sarah Wright for social media currently.
Yes.
Are my two. Yeah.
Yes. Have you, did you go to Shamin's financial one?
I don't think I made that one.
Yeah. Go back and watch the record.
Okay.
Really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Shamin's one of my favorite people in the like industry type of thing. She's just good people. Plus she's smarter than a whip.
Okay.
Yeah, she's good. Have you purchased other programs or worked with another coach?
Yes. So I hired a coach prior, and again, lovely person, but just was not, it was one-on-one. She was not an interior designer. And there was a big disconnect there. So
such a crazy industry.
Yeah. Huge. Okay.
Yeah.
So I did have one experience. You know, I took away some positives, but again, if I could have taken that money and done this course, gladly would have, you know, chosen this.
Oh, that's very cool. What would you say? What would you want to leave the audience with?
There is one more question in the chat that she might,
might be
a lovely ending question.
Oh, hey Becca, good to see you. Did the resources in the bakery give you the ability to have a better work-life balance? Since doing the bakery, do you feel like you've been working the same, less, or more than what you were doing before?
Oh, girl, I have weekends. I don't answer calls after 4 or 5 p.m. I don't take text messages anymore from clients. I've gone on more vacations in the last less than a year than I have in a decade. So yes, let me just read that one more time. So yes, work-life balance, 200%. I learned I was a people pleaser throughout the bakery. I was also trying to approach a huge audience. You got to narrow it down. You got to find your, your ideal client, which I didn't even know who that was. Boundaries. Like, I mean, they give you so many tools in the bakery of, whether it's software, technology, how to handle your company. And it's interesting because once you set those boundaries, like everyone's with it, like everyone's on board. All my clients, like, I don't get texts anymore. I don't get crazy calls anymore. I don't get the emails. I didn't have any processes and procedures. So I was flying by the seat of my pants. I was charging hourly. It was impossible to track. So every single thing that I learned has given me quality of life back. And also my bank account is the best it's ever been. And, for me, financial security is huge. Like my relationship with money prior to this was not good. Not good. Yeah.
Money stories like we were talking about yesterday, y'all. It's a thing.
Yeah. And also like, and it's not just me, like it's not, my clients are loving it. Like the feedback I'm getting from old clients that re-signed up for new projects and then new clients I've attracted, it's just, I mean, like they think, I'm the shit. And I'm like, oh, well, I just like that big contract I just signed, they got the project kickoff gift. And they were like, oh my God, like that was so thoughtful and generous. And I'm like, yeah, Michelle. But I would have never done that, but it's like, if they're spending that kind of money with you, like all these little things matter. Like
it makes it an experience and not just a purchase.
Exactly.
It's not just a service. It's this whole thing that when individuals of that stature that can afford what we provide, they expect this type of touch.
Yes. Also, and just cut me off if I keep blabbing too much, but I also think just like the power behind my voice, like with our qualifying calls, our meet and greets, like I'm vetting so well now that it's fun, and it's so easy to spot the red flags way in advance. And like being that people pleaser, I never had the verbiage to like basically turn somebody down and feel good about it. Like, and now I do, it's just like a thing. It's like, I'm sorry, I no longer, do consulting. I no longer do hourly. I have a minimum for my projects.
What is that, if I can ask?
The minimum? I'm saying 1 to 2 rooms because I didn't want to turn anyone away. But in my FAQs, we say typically that minimum investment is 20,000.
Nice.
Like we know that it can be lower than that, but between
sometimes you just hear about, this is just going to be phase 1. Let's make a little exception.
But I mean, like I said, before the bakery, I was doing paint consults for $200 and driving wherever, like I'm genuine, like it feels so good to say I now have a minimum. And even repeat clients where you feel like you want to bend, I like genuinely like, hi, this is like how I work now. And I do feel lucky enough that the financial gain, my website's being rebuilt. It's going to launch at the end of the month. And I have all of my services and offerings, my portfolio, how we work, how to get a hold of us, how to, so it just feels more professional. And it's crazy because I'm getting work without even having all of that done. So again, if you are just starting out, like, don't freak out that you don't have all the social media and the website, that can come with time. But I promise you, like, you need the back end. And when I refer to the back end, like, it's everything we're talking about. If that infrastructure is not set up, you're never gonna.
Even if you do get clients, it's a mess.
Yes.
Because it's running around willy-nilly. Becca also asked, is that the minimum for design fees or the total budget?
No, so that's kind of like if I did one room, you know, so it could fall between 4,500 to 6,500 for your design fee. Then we have, I tack on procurement separately, and install as well. So then you're stacking that up. But then your budget for furniture. So again, that's an important thing. Before this, I was doing mostly retail decor. I was not doing to the trade.
Yes.
So yeah, and it partly because a lot of my clients were like, I want RH, I want this, because that's all they knew. And like I knew to the trade existed. It was just like I couldn't wrap my head around it, and a lot of the opening orders are expensive. But I now know how to navigate all of that. So to be concise about your question, I think it was whoever asked that, but no, that would be with decor and design fees for one room, because again, it's going to vary. Like before Michelle and before the bakery, like I didn't even know what to expect per room, or whether there was construction involved, or a modified construction, or just decor. But what I've gained through this is I almost want to scare people a little bit, like, because then the result is like they're super excited. Like I set up my calls, my meet and greet so well now that by the time the scope of work presentation is there, like there's not even a question about the price. Like I really thought, Michelle, that last one, my biggest one, that I was going to get, like the husband and wife looked at each other and they're like, okay, great. Where do we sign? Now we were doing it through Zoom. We weren't in person. So like, obviously they would have signed in person, but I was like,
Right.
I will electronically send you your contract, your letter of agreement, you know, and the scope of work for signature today. They sent me the check in the mail, and, you know,
They didn't even bat an eye.
no.
Yep. So you can continue up leveling until people start saying no.
And also, and I'm keep blabbing, but like, even again, going back to the beginning phase, because I don't want all of you to say, oh, well, you've been in business for 7 years, like just the presentation in general. I was never doing a slide deck. Like that wasn't a thing. Like I would send somebody a proposal in the email and like wait to hear back or like follow up. Now you're in their face and you're using graphics, and everyone is loving, like every single person has complimented me how great the presentations have been. And it's just like, oh.
It's because we're dealing with professionals and they expect us to be professional. That's so cool. Becca wanted to tag on, did the bakery help you transition from retail to buying from the trade?
Yes. Yep.
We've got a whole bunch of training on that.
So once you're in, there's a whole Rolodex of resources that you can tap into if you're not familiar with To the Trade. Like I had been to some local shows. I had been to like, I'm outside of Philadelphia, so New York's close to me, but obviously like High Point's there, Dallas, Atlanta, Vegas. But it's like, it's overwhelming. It's a little scary. And it wasn't until the bakery that I was like, I'm gonna go to High Point. Like I can do this. I'm gonna meet vendors. I'm gonna learn, you know. And so yes, it did help me transition to the point where this last contract is the first contract. Now I've been in the bakery for months, is going to be my first contract full to the trade. And I now have it in my contracts that I don't source retail. And that if they want that, it's, you know, it's a modified design, and, you know, I mean, I do offer e-design, but yeah, I no longer, it's very clear we are only sourcing to the trade for your project.
That is fabulous. Dude, you're going to see some serious margin on that. Yeah, that's right. You probably saw the exercises where you were leaving money on the table and went like, oh my God, what?
So even the first contract that I got my fee back from this course, I lost my ass. So just imagine that. I made money. It was okay. I got my fee back, you know, whatever. But I lost my ass because I did retail. And also I second guessed myself on the price. Like I really held back on pricing because they were a returning client. And I'll never do that again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is like, nothing's perfect. So for those of you guys who are listening to Krystal, and you could blab for the next 30 minutes, but I've got some questions to answer. But in that respect, it's not, the program isn't perfect. Like there's still room for you to make a human error, but you learn from it. And then you can also go back and ask questions, or you can just say, oh, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. But you're not losing you're not going to make an error so big that you're going to have to close the business. No. So, it's totally a learning process. So everything you learn makes you better. And then again, going back to the community and support, like we all kind of
put our pain moments on the Facebook group, and like we all chime in of like how to either solve it, if we've been there, advice on it, because we're all, I mean, we're human. We're always going to keep evolving.
Yep. No, that's the valid point, but you have so many people surrounding you that if you do have questions or anything like that. So it's nice to have the opportunity to bounce ideas off of. All the master coaches are available on Facebook, Debbie, Megan, myself. And then the cool thing is I still learn things from y'all, from the bakers. Like I'll be listening to something that somebody's done and I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. So, just there's that iron sharpens iron.
Also, probably last thing to sign off on that's important is I did not go to interior design school. I was a fine artist. I was classically trained. I also have my education degree. So I transitioned from my 20s to early 30s into design. So again, like we all know it, you either have it or you don't, you're talented. But just to prove, I did not go to school for interior design. And I am successfully growing my company right now.
Love that. Love that. Love that. And you can walk with the swagger now and it doesn't feel as impostery.
No, exactly.
Oh, thank you, Krystal. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much.